All right, guys, we're going to work on part 2 of your elements handout, and we're going to start with color. So what I want you to do is use a reference color wheel in order to make sure that you've got it in the right order. Your color picker is going to be your best friend for this, and you want to choose the most vibrant hues you possibly can. So in your color picker, you want to make sure that you're in the top right corner where you'll have a solid hue. If you go to the left, you'll have tints because it's closer to white. Down at the bottom, you'll have shades because it's closer to black. So up in that corner, this is a pure hue. Then you're just going to use your fill can. Remember, if you can't find it, it's underneath the gradient tool. That's usually what it looks like. Press and hold, and you'll find the hidden tool. It doesn't matter where you start, just click one triangle to be red. The next one will be a red-orange. So all you're going to do is slide your color picker slightly up or down, depending on what direction, to the red-orange. Click OK, fill it in, and keep going around. It's going to be much easier to do it in this method than skipping around randomly because you're just going to be changing the color slightly. So from orange, we go to yellow-orange, then to pure yellow, yellow-green. Again, I'm not moving my color picker circle away from that corner. It's going to stay up in the pure hue area. Then up to blue-green, this is where it gets tricky. You can choose one that's in this area. You don't want to stay in the middle here, or you can kind of go into this one, which is more blue. It depends whatever vibe you want. All right, up to blue, blue-purple. What you want to make sure is that there's enough contrast between each of your colors. So no matter what, when you compare two triangles, they should look significantly different. And then red, purple. Okay, color wheel done. Maybe this blue sticks out a little bit, so what I'm going to do is grab my eyedropper, select, click it, and then I can adjust. And maybe I want it to be just a little bit darker, so a little more blue. Back to fill can, click, and I like that a little better. Of course, you can always go with this one. Actually, I like that better. All right, so after your color wheel is complete, you're going to be creating a value scale of a color of your choice. So this is not black and white, okay? So choose a color. I'm going to go with purple. And then you're going to keep this color selection exactly where it is, okay? Don't move that. You're going to go left and you're going to go down to change the lightness or darkness. You're going to change the value of the color, not the color itself. So I'm going to hit OK, grab my fill can, and you want to be somewhere in the middle because this is the pure hue. So I'm going to go right here. Then I click, and I grab some white. You'll notice I jumped pretty far. And then click, grab some more white. So just moving left and fill. Now I'm going to grab my eyedropper, go back to that perfect hue, and I'm going to add some dark. There's more spaces for dark, so you might want to move a little bit less when you're picking. Your darkest and lightest should not be black and white. So make sure you're not going all the way down to the corner. All right, if you see a nice transition, then you are done. Head on down to the cubes. So you're going to apply different values you created in the value scale to help this series of triangles appear to be a cube. So a cube is a form, it's three-dimensional. So you can use the same value scale here to apply it correctly. So use your eyedropper, and the lightest color would be on the top. The darkest color, and I don't want to go too dark, will be on the side. And then the mid color, so just your hue, would be on the front. Already when you look at that, you can see how it really helps the illusion of form. For this next one, I want you to do a grayscale one. So that means black and white. Again, don't go too, well, you're going to have to go dark because black is black. You can go more of a dark gray if you'd like. It just depends. All right, so darkest side, middle, and lightest side should be on top. Okay, that looks good. And moving over to space. So in the boxes below, use whichever tools you want to fill the space. Think about the balance you are creating between the positive stuff you draw and the negative, which is the space around. Experiment with size to create depth and help the eye travel through the scene. So this is where you would go back to the slideshow and look at the space slide. So all of those different arrangements that I had. So we are experts with the brush tool right now. I recommend using the brush tool. So I'm just going to use black and white for this just to keep it simple because I don't want to have color ruining my spatial composition. So I'm going to start by drawing a line. So I'm going to click, I'm going to press and hold shift and click somewhere else and it will connect the dots and make a diagonal line. Then I'm just going to make my brush bigger by using the right bracket and I can have a large circle right there. If I make my bracket or make my brush smaller by pressing the bracket and put a circle here, it automatically looks like it's farther away. If I keep going and put one here, then that one looks like it's even farther away. And again, I've created the illusion of space. So then I'm going to keep going and do that again and again. So maybe I want this one to sit there and I'm going to change the color. So this one looks like it's a little in front of that one. So this would be overlapping. Now, the tricky thing is if I wanted to put one behind this, I can't do that now because it would go over, okay? So you either need to plan ahead or you need to make a new layer. So if I make a new layer and then I add that circle, I can now drag the layer underneath. The reason it's not going is because this is the background. So if I double click the lock, it will eliminate the background and then I can drag it under, okay? But this background, this square has white in it. So I'm gonna grab my magic eraser and click, okay? And then you can see it. The other way to do that is your quick selection tool, okay? Just click, it will select inside and then you can just hit delete. It will do the same thing, okay? Then what you can do is make a new layer, drag it under layer 1, and then you can fill that with white. And then that way it looks like the same thing again. But now this circle is behind and they look like they're overlapping. So I'm just going to hit Control E and those layers will merge and we'll be all back to 1. Okay, so that is again the illusion of space. And then the last one, again, look at the handout created to help. I'm going to do a line first. So I'm just going to make my brush small. Click, oops, change my color back to black. Click, press and hold shift. Click. Okay, that wasn't perfectly straight, so I'm going to undo. And then I'm going to click, press and hold shift while I drag. And that will make it perfectly straight across. Okay, so the 2 methods, again, we learned last time. All right, and back to making my brush bigger. And then smaller. Now this doesn't work so good because they're the same color. So forward thinking, choose a light color, start in the back, make it a little darker, make it a little bigger, and then you can really see the difference there. Make it darker, make it bigger, too big. And I'm doing a little overlapping. Okay, last one, I'm going to really push this composition up, making it big and making it go outside of the scene. Okay, now here's a tip. It's outside of the box and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is use my quick selection tool. I'm going to select the area. Then I'm going to use my brush and it will only paint inside of the selected area, but it's not painting over that circle. So I'm going to undo, and then I'm going to move my selection so that it's selecting this circle too, so you can see the running ants changed. And now I'm going to redo. And that helps me to stay inside the zone. Control D, deselects. And now you can see the illusion of space within those boxes. Okay, coming on down. And the last one is pretty simple, but it seems confusing. In the boxes, experiment with a pattern fill by using the pattern stamp. So that's going to be right here. When I hover over, you can see the clone stamp, okay? But the pattern stamp is underneath that, so I'm going to click that one. You can find additional patterns by clicking the arrow, okay, to the right of your pattern, and then you can click on any of these. It will append to the selection, okay? So what you're going to do is use the quick selection tool to select my box just like I shared with you. Then I'm going to use the pattern stamp, make it big, and then I can color inside. Okay, and then I would just hit Control D, object select the next one, pattern stamp, choose an interesting pattern, make sure they're all different, just paint it in. Last one, Control D, select, pattern stamp, and let me try a new, let's do nature patterns. And you always want to hit append. Scroll down, ooh, this one looks cool, and color in. All right, Control D. You are done. So now you're going to go to File, Save, okay? And you're going to make sure you're saving it as a JPEG now because you are done. So save it as a JPEG. If you're in Photopea, remember you have to go to File, Export As. Then you want to make sure it's your last name, first initial, then elements, okay? And then you're going to upload this to the Google Classroom assignment.